All right, hi everyone. Trying a different angle today. It's the end of July, so that means we're going to do a roundup coverage. So this is for the patrons. I don't always do these videos, but I've got a bit of time now. We've got a few more days before the end of July, so I just wanted to go over what we've covered. So you'll see this on the Patreon post. Most of the work this month was kind of focusing on add-on projects, and that's ongoing. So there are developments to a bunch of the free add-on projects and modular workspaces as well. Biogen is undergoing a massive rewrite now, but there's actually kind of two branches of Biogen. One of them is just a fix to get the currently available, or what was the currently available version, stable for 4.5, and the other branch is version 10, which is going to be a much larger change. I also decided to let people know that I would be considering the Patreon income as the wage for working on free projects at a rate of about £50 per hour, and then we'll kind of divide that into the wage. So at the moment it stands at about £200-ish, which is equivalent to about 4 hours. I have gone way over time from that, because when I got to the end of the 4 hours, I thought, well, I worry that I won't remember everything I was thinking at the time if I wait until next month to work on it. But still, it's not really fair, because now that there's still like a ton of free work being done. So I'm thinking about compromises where if I hit milestones, for example, if Biogen version 10 becomes ready at some point while I'm in unpaid overtime, then I might not release it until the Patreon wage catches up to that overtime. Alternatively, I'll make it available only for patrons, so that'll be a benefit to you, and then it will only become fully public once that time catches up. So, I mean, I might talk about that a bit more. I'll still think about it a bit more and then see what I come up with. But everything is transparent and on the new documentation. So if you go to docs.curtisholt.online, it will link to a Gitbook website. And that's basically where I'm building documentation from now on. And on there, there's a development log section. I might actually be able to bring it up on this iPad. Hang on. All right, so on docs.curtisholt.online, this is the website you'll be linked to. There's a development log section at the bottom there. Then it's Patreon Fund, July 2025. On here, you can look at the work notes for every single day work was done. So you can read through every single thought process, so that keeps it transparent, so you can see the work was actually being done. You can follow along with it in specifics. So that's just in case, anyone in the future contributes and they're worried that I'm just pretending that stuff's getting done. It's all there. And there are actually a few more days to add to this that I've got stored in notes at the moment. And then at the top, it kind of gives a breakdown of what the Patreon fund has paid for so far and what's unpaid. So that was one thing that's kind of going on. In terms of channel stuff, so main channel, we had these following videos. Is graphics design actually meaningful? That was answering a community question. And I believe that one was actually included at the end of the last roundup on Patreon, but this time it was actually released. Should I make more free stuff for Blender? Should you learn geometry nodes? That one was a response to an Andrew Price video. Then I played Blender Studio's new game, Dog Walk, because Dog Walk was released. Blender 4.5 LTS is here. What are the new features? So that was a big breakdown video for Blender 4.5. The tradition, we always do those videos. Then it's time to fix these Blender tools. This is me basically starting to talk about all the work being done on the add-ons again. Working on Biogen V10 for Blender. Are you stuck in tutorial hell? That was another community question. Blender is coming to iPad, so that was a new announcement on code.blender.org. And Blender also did some social posts talking about how they're going to be supporting tablets more actively from now on. And then Blender can be so aesthetic. At the time of recording this, there'll be one more video. There might be more than one more video being released, but at the moment, one that's pretty much ready to go is Modular Workspaces 1.9.2 is now available for Blender 4.5. So obviously, it's because Modular Workspaces was updated, so that video should also be added to the list. On Kurt Studio, well, on the other channels, not much has happened because I've been crunching down on the add-on stuff. But on Kurt Studio, I did a video, my new method for studying, where I talk about Anki, the tool/method for kind of refreshing a memory on lots of information points and how that's been helpful for me. And then I've made a note, there's the new documentation site, as we said. There's a GitHub repository for backing up that documentation in case it needs to get moved to a different website. Patreon funds are now reported on there. Holt tools has been updated for 4.5. Again, Biogen updated, and EasyBPY was also updated with changes that were primarily copied over from Modular Workspaces. As we were updating features in Modular Workspaces, some of the functionality is based in the EasyBPY module. So as we made changes to that, it made sense to kind of propagate that to the actual core EasyBPY and other places it's used. So for example, Holt Tools has also got some improvements because of that. So it's quite nice having a way of projects being able to help each other. Other things that have been going on. So I mentioned in a recent video that I'm sort of open to freelance if anyone wants to kind of hire me just to see whether I can fit it into my workflow. And additionally, I've been speaking to other creators because we're looking at putting together teams. So for example, I think it's interesting, like when I was a smaller creator, like before I had a YouTube channel, I would actually get quite a few freelance requests. This is interesting. As the audience size grew, I got fewer and fewer. And I think it's actually more of a kind of intimidation thing. So people look at someone with a following and they go, oh, they're probably not approachable, or their standards are too high, or their pricing's too high, or that kind of thing. I found that it takes a little while for people to kind of build up the confidence to say, hey, would you like to work? It was interesting when I did the casual sponsor system, a lot of people came out of the woodworks. They were like, oh, something affordable. And I'm completely up for discussing pricing and stuff. But like part of the hope of putting teams together is I've already got people collected for doing like a product visualization and miscellaneous 3D generalist team, and they're very eager for me to start looking for clients. Then I've got someone to help if we're doing like a Python development team. But the idea would be that I can then market those teams as a product, because I've never been great at marketing myself as such. It actually takes quite a lot of effort to market my own things. There is so much room for improvement in how I do that. But I've always been good at kind of advising other people. It's a classic tale of not being able to take your own advice. But I would feel probably more confident pushing a team to collect freelance clients rather than pushing myself to collect freelance clients, if that makes sense. So I've basically got 2 teams ready already. One of them is a 3-person team and one of them is a 2-person team. And in that is included myself because I gel well with certain creators. So it'd be an interesting dynamic where I am a manager but also creator. And you know, the really weird thing about that is the more I look at it, I'm basically becoming my dad over time. My dad is a special effects supervisor, does a lot of work for Warner Brothers and all that. But again, he is self-employed and he manages tons of people. And when he's kind of pitching, it's pitching like the collective work and all that. So it seems like we're kind of on similar pipelines maybe. I mean, that's only if I do end up going down this path. So what we're thinking about doing is maybe I'm going to run some simulation tests, some clients. And again, the team members are interested in doing this, where I will come up with a scenario of a fictional client that wants to get us to do something. We will then produce that result and then push it on like my services page as a case study. And then I can advertise that and say, look, if you need any services done, I have a team waiting and we can do pretty much anything you want. And that's actually like one of the great benefits of kind of being, I suppose, a personality in this space. I know, and I am friends now, like really close friends with people that can do anything. And it's really weird because like companies, large companies, they spend so much time and money trying to hire people with very specific skill sets and failing a lot of the time to get the results they want to. I have very few people coming to me for advice, especially companies, very few people, but I'm connected to people that can do literally anything, like in any form of video game field, visual effects, even makerspace type stuff, even scientific things. There's so much untapped potential like in this community space. It's crazy. You know, if the money was there to compensate for the time, we can make and produce and publish, because we already have the Steamworks skill set, any video game we wanted. We can make any animated film we wanted. But again, if the time and the money investment was there, because that one is more of an emotional drain than anything else, we can build any tool for Blender we wanted. I've got friends that can write bespoke rendering engines from scratch, and they do that just for fun to see what's possible. It's just the thing is, when I look at like all the people I'm surrounded by and all their incredible skill sets, there's so much that people could do, but there is no incentive, no financial incentive, whatever. If large scale companies were aware of what people could do in our community space, I think they'd be reassessing how they look for talent. There's also like a really, like I'm in a position where I can see a really weird disparity between like YouTube makerspace things. So this is not software related, more hardware related, and things happening in the film industry, right? Because, you know, my dad, every now and again, he'll show me something that people just casually made on the side, like in their workshop. And it's like the most impressive thing like I've seen all month. It would take like a stupid amount of time to have something like that manufactured, all the different types of technologies that go into it, wireless safety mechanisms, like all the kind of finesse for electrical switching and like the power behind things. And it's just like a casual throwaway thing, like, oh yeah, I had someone make this, it's just fabricated in the workshop. And then I look around at like, you know, things on the YouTube makerspace. People get like millions of views, putting high amounts of effort into things that are impressive, but they're still just kind of like so amateur by comparison. I remember asking him, I was like, if I had the dimensions and if I like, you know, designed something, if I built a prototype, would you be able to have it like made up? And he was like, yeah, easy. I remember for one project, I won't say too much about what it was, but and this is long gone now, so it's fine, but they made multicolor flamethrowers just for a special effect, just because they were like, can we do it? Can we have like flamethrowers that project multiple colors of flame? Like, yeah, easy. They did it. It's something that like Elon Musk could push for like, millions of dollars. They just make this thing for an effect and then, throw it away. That's what it feels like in this kind of, software community space. I've got friends that they just test ideas for rendering engines. They make it. They go, yeah, that test worked. Throw it away. And a lot of that stuff is just things that you will never, ever see on video. It just seems like some of the most impressive things in the world just like don't get shared anywhere. Anyway, I digress. I've got to get on with other work. So that was a little roundup for July. Thank you for the continued support, and I will see you next time.